Hi, everyone, and welcome to Hatha Yoga. I'm Julie. To begin today, you'll need a few props. So if you could gather a couple blocks, at least one blanket, and a strap, a yoga strap, that'll be helpful. And we're going to begin today's practice in crocodile. That means you'll be laying on the floor, laying on your mat, belly down. I'll meet you there. So there's always a transition time. When we start our yoga class, we have to start by transitioning ourselves into that experience. So let's just lay down on our belly, stack your arms so that you're able to support your forehead there, and begin to connect with your body by way of your breath. You can feel how you're connected to the ground. So there's this automatic sense of grounding as you breathe into the belly and feel your whole body being held by the earth. So this is just a great way to transition into this body-mind connection. And as you start to relax into it and surrender to the pose, you'll feel your breath deepening. You could feel that interaction of your belly rise and fall, and you feel that connection to the earth. And maybe you can slow that breath down as you start to participate in the breath. So forehead resting on your arms, eyes closed, of course, just relaxing into this crocodile, this very grounding and connecting kind of transitional pose. I like to start every class by an invitation of setting intention. So what is it that brought you to yoga? That's a good way to start. What is my intention today? What brought me here, or why am I here in my yoga experience? Inquire within. See if you can zero in on that for yourself. This is about you. It's for you. Don't overthink. Just see what shows up. Relax into it. Let's give it 2 more full breath cycles. And as far as intention setting, I like to just kind of finish it up by saying, and so it is. And so it is. Let's start to make our way up into more of an all fours position. So start to come up onto all fours. And we're going to start by stretching into the shins and into the tops of the feet. So it's just kind of pulsing forward and back in an all fours position and stretching your hips down towards your heels. And find a rhythm of your breath, that you start to connect with the very rhythm in your body as you move forward and back, stretching into the shins and tops of the feet. Let's put a little more pressure into that. So see if you can wander your way to sitting upright on your heels and feel that stretch now. If that's very tight in your body and you need to continue the pulsation movement, that's always an option. You can sit and hold, do that, give that a try. Sit up real tall, think mountain pose as you come into this posture, allowing your upper body to lift and lengthen. How about interlacing your hands behind your back and pulling your knuckles away from the back body? Knuckles are down and away from the back body. So you feel a nice opening in your pecs up through the collarbone and throughout the chest. And breathe in and out as we stretch into the tops of the feet and the ankles and all through the shin. Nice stretch for the knees too. I'm sure you can feel that. Let's come back to our all fours position, and I'm just going to have you float your feet up off the floor and maybe spin your feet around a little bit so you can release some of the tension that might have been created from that. Just kind of release that by circling around. And then as you drop your feet back to the floor, try this little thing. Just let your right foot come up, your left foot come up and bring it over toward the right side of your body. And then you can turn to look at that and then drop it back and then switch feet. So we just flip that, bring that foot over to the side, and we turn to look at that. So see if you can find the rhythm of that you get the hang of it, where you alternate your feet crossing over. So you're bringing your left foot over to the right side of your body. You're bringing your right foot over to the left side of your body, and you turn to look at that foot. You're going to feel that stretch in the sides. It's going to give you some movement through the neck. And then you might even try picking up the pace, that you're just trying to alternate that movement in a kind of a flow experience where you're picking up the pace, lifting that foot one at a time, and just turning the body kind of at a quickened pace. Good job. And then let's bring our feet back to the floor now and stretch down into a nice child's pose. So stretch back, keep your legs exactly as they are, lined up more or less in your all fours position kind of alignment, and stretch back into long arm pose of the child. So your sit bones come down to rest into your heels, forehead to the mat. From here, let's turn our palms open. So instead of palms down on the mat, can you flip it around so your palms are open, forehead on the mat, and you've got that gesture now, open palms. It's seems like a very kind of sacred gesture, opening to receive. So we begin our practice with this gesture of receptivity, open to receive the benefits and the blessings of this yoga practice. Let's deepen the breath. Making your way back to your all fours position. Let's move into the feet a little deeper. So let's turn the toes under, the heels will pop up. And now as we bring our hips back toward our heels, we're going to be pressing into the toes and into the balls of the feet. So a little warm up. And we're working toward sitting on them just like we did on our first go around when we were on the tops of the feet. Now we're got the heels up and our sit bones are landing at the heels, and now we're going to stretch the toes, stretch the balls of the feet. The whole arch of the foot is really getting a good stretch. Once again, why not? Let's just interlace our hands and open up the chest while we're at it. Now, pulsation and just gradual movement into this is always a good idea if that feels better in your body. I happen to be all warmed up, so it's an easier go for me. Connect with your breath. Let's do a couple more breaths. See if you can hold. Stretch, maybe moving. You feel your toes spreading. And then when you release your hands back to the floor, let's once again kind of balance in our knees and float both feet up so we can start spinning the feet around, loosening up through the ankles, getting all that tension out again. Let's go back to that side to side movement we created at the beginning. So one foot lifts up and we turn to look at it, and we switch feet. So we just swing it over to the other side of the mat and go back. And if once you get the hang of it again, see if you can pick up the pace. Don't lose track of your breath. It's going to speed up the breath, of course. That's okay. One more on each side. Look at each side one more time and bring your feet back to center. Let's turn those toes under again. The heels are going to pop up. And this time, let's see if we can. Here's where the blocks might be helpful, that you could use your blocks kind of to balance you. So I'm going to lift up one knee at a time, kind of really getting into that foot and, feeling. And if you're feeling like, the blocks aren't necessary, you've got plenty of balance, you can just lift them up, then just do it that way. It takes some core strength, right? When you're doing some balance work like this, it really gets into the core strength. Beautiful. Let's bring hands back to the mat. We're back in our all fours. Float the feet above the mat and just roll around again, stretching through your ankles. Let the toes move. Reset. Let's drop the feet now so the tops of the feet are down, toenails are down, and let's begin now with moving through the spine. So we're going to just lift up the chest, feel the tail lift, feel the arch of the back body, that real arc of the extended spine. Let's just pattern now. We'll wait before we connect to the vinyasa. Let's just feel our cow pose. And when you're ready, you start to pull in the belly and create the roundness of the back body, the C-shaped curve of the cat. Try to really pull the belly button in toward the spine so it feels like there's a lot of belly action to create a better cat pose. And once you feel like you've got the hang of it, in other words, you've patterned your body, then it's time to add the breath connection. So we'll inhale in our cow pose and exhale through the cat. So you're not trying to be, in sync with my movements at all. You're trying to be in sync with your own breath, your own rhythm. Common pose, very familiar to everybody. It's an easy one for you to lose your contact or your awareness because you could do it in your sleep kind of thing. So stay with it, pay attention, use some discipline now to breathe in your cow pose and feel the extension of your body, and breathe out as you round the back body into a C-shaped curve. Stay with that mind-body connection. Let's do two more. And come into a neutral spine now. Again, lift those feet up, spin the feet around a little bit, do your little crisscross. And let's lay them down. Let's try the scooping cat. You remember that one? We drop the hips and buttocks into the heels. It's a long inhale as we drag the chest along the mat, long, long, and low. And when we exhale, we finally round into the cat. So a long inhale takes you scooping along the mat, finding individual movement through the vertebrae. Very good for the upper body strength. Exhale, rounding into that C-shaped curve of the cat. Still done as a vinyasa, it'll elongate the breath. Nothing wrong with that. And the next time you find yourself scooping along that mat, make your way back to belly down, stacked arms, crocodile. Catch up with your breathing here, smooth it out, settle, let your body settle. And then we're going to move into kind of a funky cobra. So you're bringing your finger pads like a claw shape of your hands, almost bring them wide of the mat and lift yourself up into a cobra that has movement. So you're moving around, feeling, exploring through the shoulders and letting your fingers, your claw hands kind of help you in this endeavor. We call that kind of a funky cobra. Kind of balancing on your point of connection is your pubic bone. So you're going to feel the back bend of the cobra for sure. Pay attention to how your neck is doing. And when you're ready, let's just stack those arms and take a breather here. Relax into it. Let yourself settle. And as we make our way into our all fours position, let's come back to the movement of the spine, cow and cat. I'll meet you in the cow pose. So we've got our arched back, our tail is lifted. So you feel that lumbar curve. Can you feel that low back curve? Turn your toes under now and be prepared. I'm going to make sure you can see what I'm doing. Turn toes under, got your heels up. We're going to float that cow up off the floor. So hover your knees above the mat and let that carry you into your downward dog. Place your hands and your feet the same distance apart. So as you're positioning your hands, you're going to notice the space between your hands and the space between your feet and try to make them equal, that's about the same. Let's try walking the dog where you very intentionally lift one heel up so that you can press the other heel down. So you'll feel it as a movement through your feet, and the stretch that you've already accomplished probably makes this relatively easy, let's hope. So stay very mindful as you use that little technique of entering into the first down dog by walking the dog. One heel at a time pops up. But I really urge you to do it mindfully. Go slow enough that you feel what you're doing and you can feel it in your body as, something intentional. Both heels up, both heels down. Again, both heels up and both heels down. This time when you find your child's pose, open the knees as wide as the mat. Bring your big toes together, maybe sit into your heels, and then start to kind of walk yourself slow but sure into your long arm pose of the child. And if you kind of like that idea of utilizing that gesture of receptivity, flip your hands so the palms are open. Breathe deep. Feel the connection of your forehead to the mat. So it's all so purposeful. It's the beauty of yoga. The tradition has so much purpose in all that we do. One more full breath cycle. And then bring yourself back to an all fours position. Let's do a little stretch of the calf. So how about we extend that right leg back, straight leg back, and you press back through the heel so you can feel a nice stretch in your calf. And it might be a little pulsation, but do it as intentionally as a stretch through the Achilles part of your heel and into the calf. Keep making sure you're aware of how you're managing the weight of your head. And then let's try this, a little plank variation. So you really have your right foot planted, and let's lift that bent left knee. Let's lift it up, draw it in, dome shape your back body, and create a nice strong variation of a plank as we hug that bent left knee in toward the belly. Find your breath. Now, when we lay that left knee down, it's almost centered in the mat. We're going to let this transition us, help us move right into the cow face pose. I'll bet you remember this. It's a real good hip opener. So we're going to have our left knee down, almost centered in the mat, and we can scoot our right leg behind it now. So you end up with cross legs. They're stacked at the knees, and your left leg is on top. So if you find you're very unbalanced in your hips, that it's tight enough through the hips that you can't sit level, this is where your blankets could be a real help for you. A folded blanket on some level, you can bring it under your buttocks and let it kind of level out the hips. I'm going to choose to do that on this side, and I feels better. And that's what we want to do. We want to feel like we can set ourselves up. I never hesitate to grab props to help me out. It's not like we're trying to judge ourselves and be harsh with ourselves or bullying ourselves. If the props help, then let's use it. Oh, and here's where we're going to need the strap. So let's get the strap within an easy hands reach. Sorry, I didn't mention that, but let's get that. We're going to put the strap into the right hand. and let it be the lift of the arm up. So that's gonna, and then we can bring our left hand behind us now and grab hold of the strap too. So now we can use the traditional position of the arms. This is considered the Cowface pose. One arm up, elbow up, and then we've wrapped the other arm behind us. I better give you a front view so you can see that a little better. In case this is new to you, this might not be familiar to everybody. Elbow up, and we just bring our hand back there to find that strap. And that's a gentle way to approach it. It lets you keep your head upright, your spine stays in alignment. Sometimes we have to really muscle our way in to get our hands to clasp back there and our neck and head get way out of alignment. This is a good way to just bring yourself into it with a little more ease. Let's deepen the breath. Now let's just unwind so we can let go of the strap, maybe push it to the side. And let's unwind again from the cross legs, the hip opening position we've got ourselves in. I had to kind of get rid of some of my props here. And we're going to just take that left leg and move it off to the side. So we've got ourselves into this, what's called the resting deer. So you've got your right foot on the inside of your thigh and your feet are both kind of going in the same direction. And this is a nice twist, a gentle way to just unravel from that hip opener and come into this gentle twist. And you can kind of do this as some movement, some creativity that, you know, you come out of the twist, you turn and find, well, what about if I add my arm? If there's movement there, does that feel good? So just exploring ways that you can continue on our effort to warm up the body, do some stretching. From here, let's kind of finish up our movement side to side in our twisting now. And let's extend that left leg long and get your right foot on the inner thigh. So we've come into this nice position for some forward folds. Hips are square and you want to make sure your kneecap is up and your toes are up as well. I like to bring my arms real close to the head. Inhale, pull the belly in, and exhale, fold down to reach for my foot. That's a popular way for me to do it, and I've practiced that way and taught that way. But I know that there are other ways to approach it. Some people will slide down their leg and bring their face toward the leg and move in that direction. So if the sliding is something you're more familiar with, don't hesitate to use your leg to help you kind of leverage yourself into it and give you some support. Just some forward folds. Let's add some side stretches. All you have to do is just turn your upper body towards your bent knee and lay to the side. Then maybe your elbow reaches in toward the inner thigh of that extended leg and your other arm can just reach up and over. Remember, there's really no magic in reaching for your toe. Let's just stretch. Just see if you can reach over and stretch. Support yourself by making, connection, arm into the leg, gives you a good grounding and support. And then we'll just unravel from that, unwind all the way. Let's extend both legs long, kind of bounce your knees up and down off that floor and kind of unwind a bit. Keep your strap handy. Let's get to the other side. Let's go through our cow and our cat. Might be a good idea to just move through the cow and the cat as a reset. And now let's step back with the left side. So the left side steps back, right knee is bent, and we're doing the calf stretch. You're just stretching into the calf, letting that heel pull back. And maybe it's a pulsing movement. Maybe you can just hold it, kind of a Nice, strong upper body support here. Pull the belly in. And then let's really plant that left foot so we really feel that toes, ball of the foot, so that we can come into that plank variation as we hover that right knee up off the mat, create a dome shape of the back body. Breathe in and out as we hold that plank. When we lay that knee down, it's centered. We're going to kind of center it on the mat, and then we can sweep that left leg underneath. And so we end up in the cow face pose. Now the right leg's on top. And I'm going to turn a little bit so you'll have a different version or vision of it. You can be able to see a little better, but that it folds with the thighs really close together and your knees pretty stacked. Here's where the strap is useful. This time it's going to go into the left hand. The left arm is up, elbow up, letting that hand with a strap in it just come right back behind your head. And then weave your other arm behind you now and come into that cow face pose. Sit up tall. Catch up with your breath. Settle in the breath, allowing your body weight to just settle in. So, sometimes we hold ourselves, so we don't want to feel the intensity of it. See if you can just allow your body weight to drop into your hips. And then we start to disentangle, start to unwind from that. And we're going to come into that resting deer. So both knees are laying down, bent knees, and you're going to bring the left foot is into the inner thigh of the right leg now. And we just turn away from that. We turn away from our feet and feel the twist. The challenge here is to keep some balance in your pelvis. Can you feel your way back into the pelvis so you feel balanced in some way, right to left? Use your hands to support you in the twisting action. And I encourage you to move both directions in the twist. And even to include a little more movement of the arms, a little more expression, a little more sense of fluidity, perhaps. And even include the moving of the head. Be mindful about that, but always let's invite it to move and find what we could do for our neck with movement of the head. And then we'll stretch out, extend one leg long, keep the sole of the foot in the inner thigh there. Balance in your pelvis. And then find your version, your way of finding a forward fold. This is just one that's worked for me. Arms real close to the head by the ears. Keeps my head, neck, and spine in alignment, and it helps me to deepen into a better forward fold. But not everybody does it that way. You might slide down your leg. So just explore different ways that you can approach it. Just keep stretching. It's kind of like you want to lift your upper body. You want to lift your whole rib cage and chest cavity out from, pulling it away from the hips as your way to lengthen and find more room for that. Keep the softness about your mouth. Relax your jaw. Don't need tension there. Let's add that side twist. So just orient yourself, turn your upper body toward that bent knee a little more so, and then let the shoulder drop, let the elbow drop on the inside of your thigh, perhaps, as you start to find the side stretch version of this. Pay attention to how you're turning your head. I like to figure out which way my ear is facing, turning my ear to face down in a certain way, so I know I'm holding my head in sort of a neutral way. It's really important for my body to find that. My neck is kind of sensitive. I've got to be always on the lookout for ways to manage that. Let's deepen the breath. And then we'll come back out and we're going to just extend both legs long, right out in front, and then just bounce them out a little bit. How about we bring the soles of the feet together into this little Baddha Konasana, cobbler pose. So the soles of the feet together. And let's just hold on to the shins, or I kind of like to hold on to the shins and then use my elbows to press into the inner thighs as you just sort of move through sort of a cow and cat movement. Chest opens, and we just sort of move into some variations here of the cow and cat pose. All right, I bet we feel pretty warmed up now. Let's try some standing poses. I'll meet you on all fours position. Let's kind of come into our cow pose. Turn your toes under now. We're going to hover the knees above the mat. Take that cow right up into your downward facing dog. If you still need to walk the dog, be sure, just do it mindfully. Maybe that always works best for you, that you continually use that as your way of doing down dog. No problem. Just do it mindfully. See if you can pull the belly way in. I love the cue I've learned from a teacher that I really admire. She says, draw your front waistline in towards your back waistline. Really engages that abdominal wall. And it's amazing how much access it gives you to deepen many, many poses by doing that. So let's lift our chest so that we can lift our head. Now we can look at the space between our hands. Left foot is going to come off the floor so that you can step it forward into a lunge. Here's where we might need, should have grabbed them, blocks handy. Left foot forward, right foot back. Let's start with a high lunge. So we're going to keep the back knee off the floor, so that's where the blocks could really be useful to steady you as you make your way up. We want to find our upright position, our verticality of our spine. So bring yourself up. Heel is up off the back foot. You're going to feel a nice stretch in your psoas. That's that big hip flexor of the right leg. Palms come to the heart. So let's bring our hands together at the prayer position at the heart. As you inhale, can you straighten that front leg? And at the same time, those hands come up. Exhale into the bent knee, hands at the heart. Steady. Look for a focal point and move with your breath. Let's find the bent knee position, hands at the heart. Take a pause. Either right hand comes to the floor or your block, and let's set up for a twist. So let's get the left hand to come to the sacrum as we turn our head so our ear is facing the floor, or even facing the hand on the floor, and lift up. So be particular, holding your hand in a particular way, or turning your head in a particular way. That just shows mindfulness. That just sets you up in a way that is just mindfully arriving and guarding, kind of, protecting. I don't like the word guarding, but protecting, so that you're mindfully moving in your body. Both hands down, we frame that front foot. Let's step forward to a forward fold and hang down as a rag doll. Keep your eyes open and look down between your legs. Let's grab hold of the elbows and create kind of a bridge between the right side of our body and the left side of our body. And at the same time, it's helping you lengthen down and fold deeper. Trying to straighten out your legs. Surrendering to the pose. Maybe shaking gently your head as if to say yes and as if to say no. Let's release the hands so we can come up to a half lift. Get your hands at your shins. Create that L shape of your body, lifting up to a half lift. And then let's soften the knees and let our arms carry us all the way up. Palms can be together up and overhead. Exhale, bow into your heart. Inhale up and exhale all the way around. I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to move my blocks to the other side. Meet me in our forward fold. Hang down into your forward fold. And let's just step one leg back and then the other. Let's go back to downward dog. Again, walking the dog or just stretching it out, pulling the front waistline into the back, feeling that beautiful length of the spine, deepening the breath. Lift your chest now so that you can lift your head. It's time for the right leg to lift up. And we step that right leg forward into a high lunge. So we're going to keep that left knee up off the floor and make your way up. And you can always use blocks. We're making our way up steady so that our spine is vertical. So we're upright. Palms come together. Find a focal point. Stay steady now. And we'll begin our vinyasa. Inhale as we lift up, straightening the leg, arms are up and overhead. Exhale as we bring hands to heart, and we're back to the bent knee position of the lunge. Finding your flow. Keep a strong breath. We need a strong, deep breath here. Feel that nice stretch in your psoas. That left leg now is getting its turn to have that stretch. Let's add that twist. So left hand can either come to the block or to the floor. We bring our right hand behind our back. Let your ear face the floor and then lift up. As we unwind, we're going to use this now as a transition into warrior two. So let's lay the heel down. Let's let the left heel come on down to the floor as we make our way up to our warrior two position. Square your shoulders. This is a side facing pose, so you're aligning yourself with the long edge of the mat. And let's extend the arms. Let's flip hands, palms up. Pull the belly and get strong. And let's transfer this one right into triangle. So that straightens our front leg. It might even, and for me, it definitely does, shortens the stance. So I'm going to let that left foot come a little closer. And now as I really pull that left shoulder back, I'm going to bring my hand behind my back. I use the back side of the hand to press into the back body and come into this triangle pose. So you're feeling a lot of tension in that front leg, then I suggest you shorten your stance to see if that doesn't take some of that tethering out of it. But pull your head back. We want to get in a single plane. You want to have your shoulders, your head, your whole body is in this single plane. That takes a little doing. It definitely takes some awareness. And we'll just let that upper arm bring us all the way up, all the way up. Now parallel your feet and think downward dog now as you bring your hands back to the floor. Let's stretch out. So the arms, your upper body feels like it's in down dog. The difference is you got your feet wide apart. Stay with your breath, deepen it. It's almost a resting pose. Let's call it that. And walk your hands closer to you so you can bring yourself up, halfway up and all the way up. And let's set that up now as we come into that warrior two on the other side. So let's just bend into that left knee. Make sure you feel that connection of the feet, those inner, the heel with the arch of the back foot or the heel of the back foot. Square yourself to face in this direction now. Get strong. Pull the belly in. See if you can find more verticality. You know, sometimes we'll be sort of leaning toward the bent knee. See if you can really be aware you're vertical. And then let's move into our triangle. So I'm going to shorten my stance. Front knee now straightens instead of bends. Hand behind the back. Let's kind of bow to the side. I use a block on the pinky edge of my foot. And so really get your shoulders in alignment. And your ears facing the hand on the floor or wherever it might be, the block on your thigh, or on your shin. Now lengthen the spine. Can you bring awareness? It feels like it's all about the legs, doesn't it? See if you can bring awareness to the upper body and lengthen through the spine. And get yourself, you're pulling your head back enough that you know you're in the single plane. And don't put up with the tether. If it's just super tight in your inner thigh on that front leg, shorten it up or bend the knee for sure. Don't put up with the tethering effect. And let's let that top arm lift us all the way out of that. Parallel your feet again and take that kind of downward dog, that version of down dog. We'll use it as a resting pose. And then kind of heel toe or bring your feet together in some way so that you can make your way onto your knees. And let's meet on the mat in constructive rest. So knees are bent, head to the mat. Feel the support of the floor right away. And open up your arms so they're comfortable, the way they fit best. For me, it's kind of an A-frame, but whatever fits best for you. And let's start by moving our legs in sort of a windshield wiper movement. So keep your feet as wide as the mat, for example. That's kind of a good place to start, and let those knees go from side to side. Slow it way down, so as your knees drop right, you're able to turn your head to look left. So slow it way down. And feel how your body is starting to unwind now as we start to wrap it up now, finishing up with our resting poses, let's say. Good, let's come to center and bring your knees up and to hug those knees into your chest. Point and flex your feet. Let's start to circle the feet, just move them around. It almost seems automatic, doesn't it? As soon as you get your feet up off the floor, you want to start moving that. Feel the connection of your head and your spine to the mat so you really feel that the grounding is a source of true support and stabilization. And then let's just bring our shins now parallel to the floor. So more or less a right angle. We've got our knees bent. We're going to flex the feet. Shins are parallel to the floor. Let's do it. A sequence that'll take us into bridge. So we're going to have our arms overhead, shins in a parallel position. This is our inhale position. Exhale as you bring your arms alongside your body and let your soles of your feet lift up. Inhale, feet to the floor, arms overhead. Exhale, arms alongside the body. Lift up your pelvis into a bridge. Keep a little pressure in your back of your head. That's take a lot of pressure off of your neck. And it's like you've got a block between your thighs. You want to imagine that you're squeezing your inner thighs toward each other for stabilization. Let's slowly bring our hips back to the floor. The pelvis drops back. Give your lumbar curve a little push into the floor. And let's find the beginning of our sequence again. Shins in a parallel position. Feet are flexed. Inhale with me. Exhale, reach the feet to the ceiling, arms alongside the body. Inhale, feet to the floor, arms are back overhead. Exhale, bridge your pelvis up. Arms are really a part of what keeps you upright. Press your hands down, press your arms to the floor, lift up. Imagine your thighs are trying to squeeze a block. And let's bring our body back down, our pelvis back down, a little push of the lumbar curve last time now as we find our inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale, bridge. Let's bring our pelvis down. I want you to roll to your right side of your body and come into that fetal position. Just roll to your right side, draw your knees in, pillow your head with your arm. Feel that fetal position being created. Take a moment now to just rest into that. Knees are very bent. Heels are drawing in toward the back of your legs. And then we're going to peel into a full body twist by keeping our legs exactly where they are. But we start to lay our head down and lay into the shoulders. We're going to just open up like a clamshell, opening up. Arms are now in a T position, but we've kept our legs exactly where they are. And it doesn't matter if our left shoulder is kind of not quite making its way to the mat, but if we can, we'll do it. Let's deepen into that. Keep your legs joined together. And then see if you can press palms down as you bring those joined together knees up with core strength, and roll to the left side of your body now into the same fetal position now. Pillow your head with your left arm, round through the back body, deepen the breath. And we're going to keep the legs exactly as they are, very bent knees drawn way up in toward our chest. And then we peel our head away from that, extending the arms out into a T as we lay open into this supine twist. Let's deepen the breath. And then press your palms down, let those joined together knees come back to center. Now, if you can find your strap, can you get a hold of your strap one last time? We're going to open it up and put the strap under the ball of the right foot. Lengthen that leg up. I'm coming all the way to the end of the strap. So I got a long strap. I'm extending my left leg long, and I'm just moving through a midline track gently up and down. Next time your leg is up in the air, hold it there. So arms hopefully are up and overhead as well. So you feel stretching, stretching through the arms, shoulders, and your leg is being held up, stretching into the hamstring and calf. And we're going to just slowly let that leg descend, super slowly descend, and let the heel touch, and we feel fully aware of that connection to the earth. Take a pause, just briefly noticing now how that feels on that side of the body as we start to set up now for the other side, getting the strap located on the ball of the foot and get our hands way down to the end of the strap. And we're going to let that move, create this nice flowing movement, straight arms, straight leg, grounded through the right leg to the mat. Lift and hold when you're ready. I'm going to move the strap away and slowly let that long leg descend to the mat. From here, it's up to you. Any final pose you need, any kind of stretching or movement into your final relaxation, this is your time to find that. I'll leave you to it. I'll be off screen, but I'll still be with you. So bringing yourself into Shavasana. Get any props that you might need. Got plenty of time. Maybe you want to cover up, put some socks on. Settle in. Feel the support of their mat as though it's Mother Earth, that you really can make that connection of being held by the ground, being held by Mother Earth. I encourage you to use a mantra so that you can stay focused on the breath a little bit longer. Simple things. Here's my recommendation. Breathe in, say the word in. And as you exhale, say the word out. So quietly to yourself, you've just incorporated the mantra of in and out, allowing your body to relax, melt into the space, and you're staying fully aware of your breath by breathing in and out, in and out. And you just stay with that. Two simple words will keep your mind fully occupied so the chatter can keep at bay for a little bit longer. And allow that connection to breath to relax your body completely. It has the potential to completely let go. Can you feel how your body has converted that breath into something very deep and slow? Let's change the mantra. Use the word deep on your inhale and use the word slow as you exhale. Breathe in deep, breathe out slow. Full breath in, full breath out. And finally, the last layer now. Let's change our mantra. Inhale the word calm. Exhale the word ease. Breathe in calm. Breathe out ease. And notice how you feel the calm. And you can feel the ease in your body. Surrender to that calm and ease now. Let go. Let's take a big breath in through the nose and exhale it out of your mouth with a deep sigh. Make some noise now. Ah. It feels like a cleansing breath. Do a couple of those. Big breath comes in through the nose, hold it, exhale a big, long, noisy sigh. Ah. Let's introduce movement to the body now, if you haven't done so already. Wiggling your hands, your feet, turning your head side to side gently, side to side. Let's step our feet to the mat now and roll to your right side. Create that fetal position once again, round through your back body. Make sure your head feels well supported, that it feels like you're hugging yourself in. So very compassionate. And then find a comfortable way to sit. And I'll meet you there. I'm going to finish it up with a reading. I have a practice of reading from a daily book of meditations. I've been doing it for, I don't know, 35 years, something like that. Here's today's reading. If we are stepping through this life indifferent to those around us and thus separate from our fellow human beings, it is by conscious choice. It may be hard to reach out to someone close, but there will always be a willing hand to receive our own. Each of us has been created to offer others our unique gifts. When we choose a posture of indifference, we are denying to the universe what we have to give. There is magic in the realization that our acquaintances, our coworkers and neighbors are presented to us by design. We are here to learn lessons, and we play teacher to each other. When we have stepped away from the circle of people calling to us, we are denying them the opportunities for growth they may need and preventing it in ourselves as well. We need one another, and being helped by someone else fulfills more needs than our own. We are in one another's world by design. I will enjoy the magic of that meaning today. Thank you so much for joining me for today's practice. Let's sync up our breath one last time as inhales now come up and overhead. Exhale as we bow into our own heart space. Inhale up and exhale. Let's share that loving energy with our community. Again, thank you for joining me. Namaste, my friends.